following program on KROC is sponsored and paid for by Meshbesher and Spence.
Andrew Davick joins us this morning from Meshbesher and Spence. AD, how you doing?
Good. Yes, it's Andrew, not Zach.
That's right, I got it this time.
Hey, have you ever had a documentary film company follow you around during a trial?
I have not.
Oh, darn.
Just
I have
checking.
not.
Seems like it's pretty fun.
That's probably a good thing.
It's probably a good thing as I sit here and, as you described it, my lumberjack coat looking like I'm
Actually,
cutting down some
like
trees.
the old days when somebody said, it's not a good day when Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes shows up at your door.
No.
Actually, it might be good, though, the tale of two lawyers. You and Zach, you're like the odd couple of Meshbesher and Spence. It could make a good
be a
documentary.
reality show. No?
Yeah, I don't think you ever see Zach in a lumberjack coat.
Maybe reality show is a little more like it then.
Let's talk about winter driving today,
Yes.
and winter driving and attorneys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, more, accident and just being safe out there.
All right.
I think it's one of those, now we finally got snow, obviously.
It's winter now.
It's now actually winter. Now it's getting cold.
Yeah.
And, I just, in our business, a lot of times people say, "Oh, the winter weather. You guys must be busy with car accidents and that type of stuff." But surprisingly, it doesn't change a whole lot. I think the vast majority of drivers that are out on the roads are pretty aware of the conditions and drive commensurate with the conditions.
The wrecks generally, I say generally, aren't as serious because people are most often driving slower.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Absolutely
But they
true.
get a lot of the minor to medium-sized fender benders that can be very much of a hassle, obviously.
And I think, especially this time of year, I mean, the most important things, and we talk about this all the time, and we've got a billboard that talks about not texting and driving. And I think that is really particularly important now with the way road conditions are. You've got to make sure you're paying attention to the road. You got to make sure you're paying attention to what's around you. Make sure that you have both hands on the wheel, so God forbid something happens. You slide a little bit. Last night I was coming back from our Minneapolis office, and road conditions weren't great, as I came south of Zimbrota. And, you're driving down the road, and you catch a little bit more snow, and you slip and slide a little bit, and you got semis going past you. So it's just important to make sure you pay extra attention and make sure you're just being safe out there.
We were talking yesterday, Mike Doherty was in here from MnDOT, and we started talking about traffic dash cameras and how in Europe, a lot across the pond, drivers have dash cams for legal protection purposes.
Oh, wow.
And I thought it's interesting that hasn't taken off
I figured
over
that would
here.
hit us first.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe and then I don't know, Andy Brownell, I don't know if he or Mike said, well, there's actually quite a few people that do that, and I just wasn't aware of that. Do you ever have
I have never
that situation?
Ever had a situation where somebody had a camera. I've represented law enforcement who have been involved in accidents, and of course in those situations typically they have footage from the dash camera in their vehicles, but I have never had a private citizen who's had that. Now, vehicles
Would
have
you
changed.
wish that they would?
Well, I think at times, when maybe things aren't quite matching up with the way, I was told the incident occurred. But, the vehicles these days, I mean, you're not going to get the footage, but almost all new vehicles have black boxes. So when you have a serious accident, there's information that can be pulled off of these, recorders that talk about speed and braking and really can try to, isolate exactly what happened during the accident and how fast.
What year of car did that start coming out?
I don't know exactly.
Is it all cars now?
I believe all vehicles have it now.
Bill Janklow over in South Dakota, when he was in that crash and killed a motorcyclist, had one in his Cadillac.
He did. We represented the victim.
Did you really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So in Janklow.
Yep.
Quick story, which is interesting. I'm sure Janklow wouldn't want to hear this, but
well, he's no longer with us, so that's all right.
Yes, we ended up. We wanted the case to be in Minnesota, and Ron Meshbesher was representing him, and I was actually a law clerk at the time, and so Ron asked us shortly after. I don't remember what year it was, but we wanted to get him served, and we were able to find out that he was flying through the Minneapolis airport, and we wanted to serve him in Minnesota. So I was there with an investigator as he got off his flight transfer to Sioux Falls, and we had actually booked a ticket onto his flight to Sioux Falls if we couldn't get him in between to serve him while sitting on the runway.
So while
how'd that go for you?
He was not happy.
I'm sure
when
he
got
wasn't.
off the plane, and the two of us are standing there with the summons and complaint. and got him served in the Minneapolis airport.
He's
and
a
then
character, all right.
returned our tickets and said, I guess we're not flying, and somehow didn't end up on the do not fly list,
Wow.
as a result of that. But
so
they
then the
used
trial
that.
was used in Minnesota.
yeah,
was
the matter
approved.
ultimately was resolved. At the time that the incident happened with Janklow, he was working for,
He's a representative.
He was a representative,
US
or state
representative.
senator, representative,
U.S.
whatever.
representative.
Yeah, and so he, it was really fell onto the federal government. They had responsibility as a result of, he was in their employ, so to speak, at the time.
He was going between events as a representative, yeah.
Had a history of
So-
speeding.
Always
boy.
be driving carefully, but in the wintertime, make sure you've got an extra bit of precaution. Never use your
Cell phones?
Well, your
That little
cell
device,
phone,
you
but
know.
also cruise control
That cruise control. And look how...
is terrible. I mean, if you go from a little icy patch to a dry, I mean, you can go out of control in a hurry.
Absolutely, and pay attention to snowplows, give them their space, give them their time, and look out for law enforcement and emergency personnel that are out there, and move to the left. You see that all too often, that they don't move to the left for those folks that are out there doing their job, and you got to make sure you do that.
So if you're coming down 52 or 14 and you see a huge bunch of snow
Plumed
coming
up
off
in the
the
road.
side, pluming up, do not try to drive through it.
Yes, that would be a safe
Just
assumption.
slow down and give
Slow
yourself
down,
a
wait
give.
for it to veer off or do something, because it's
Absolutely.
likely a good chance that it's a plow.
Absolutely, let them do their job.
Somebody needs to get a hold of you at Meshbesher and Spence. Andrew, what do they need to do?
Give us a call at 1-800-845-1021. Stop by the office or meshbesher.com.
And you mentioned your billboard on Civic Center Drive. Thank
Yes.
you for putting up a message about Winterfest on your billboard.
Or-
What a great community partner you are.
We're happy to do it.
Excellent.
We live in this town, so...